are on live on the Wise Coffee Chat Show. I am muted, correct? Unmuted, right? So thank you so much, guys. So who am I? My name is Jennifer Sanchez. I'm the founder of the Wise Alliance Network. Also, I am a real estate investor. So if anyone's looking to sell their properties 30 days or less, feel free to reach out to me. What am I? I also put on retreats, conferences, networking events. I mean, I've been doing this since 2018, so super excited to be here with everyone listening. And I'm also a mom. My daughters would kill me if I don't say this. I'm a mom of three beautiful girls. So soon to be a graduate of high school, going into college. Super excited about that. But enough about me. And you can learn more about me at wisealliancenetwork.com. You could also learn more about the radio at WRMN1410.com. So let's pass it over to my guest, Robin. Can you introduce yourself to the listeners?
Hi, guys. I'm Robin. I am the founder of A Carpenter's Heart, which actually came about a little while ago, maybe 7 years ago. So it's basically building people, right? Carpentry, I am my father's daughter. So that's pretty much where it come from.
Carpenter.
So A Carpenter's Heart, it was originally building and refurbishing and redoing furniture. But the funny thing is people would talk to me while I did it.
Yeah.
And so I kind of rebranded into actual purpose. So right, and so it came from building furniture, building people.
I love that. So the organization is called A Carpenter's Heart,
Yes.
right? I the moment I learned about the name of the organization and what you do, I was definitely very intrigued. And, you know, I'm a faith-based girl. So for me, when you said A Carpenter's Heart, the first thing I thought about was Jesus, right? Because he was a carpenter. And I think the fact that the way that your story led up to what you're doing now is super amazing, you know, and for being obedient and following whatever God had for you and what path. So tell us a little bit about, well, first and foremost, I know we have coffee here. This is the Coffee Chat Show. So on WRMN 1410. And we're here with Robin. I don't know what you're drinking right now, but what's your favorite go-to coffee?
Oh, my favorite go-to coffee is Cafe Bustelo.
Okay.
I like it because it already comes with the one that I like already comes with the cream in it, and so I don't do sugar, so that's like it tastes amazing. Cake cups are my favorite. Comes with the cream in it. If I want to add a little razzle dazzle with some foam on the top, I could do that. So
That's nice. I like that. I like that. And you're also very coffee, like a coffee.
yeah, I am a coffee girl.
A coffee girl. I wanted to say coffee adventurous, but I know that's not the correct term for it. What is it, like coffee connoisseur, or what do you call the, yeah, right?
Connoisseur.
Yes, something like that. I'm not good with those names. But so that's K cups. I love that. Sometimes I'm also a K cup girl. So now with your story, tell us a little bit about your upbringing and your background. Where are you from? Where were you raised?
I am a little girl from suburbs, Chicago, like the southern suburbs. You can say Chicago, but man, I was born in Roseland. I grew up kind of not, in a typical happy kid life. I did grow up in a kind of had a little rough start, but we made it, right?
We made it.
We made it.
I hear you.
So generally, that's probably where my story would have begun as to who I am, right? I think your purpose begins, as the Bible says it, your purpose begins before you were formed in your mother's womb. So I was gonna be bound to go through in order to help someone else get through, right, easily, so that I could relate. And so growing up, I mean, I didn't I want to give too much away, but growing up, it wasn't like, peaches and cream or anything like that. But
yeah. So you grew up, you're a Chicagoan.
Yep,
Born and raised. Born and raised. And what actually led? So you said you like to refurbish
furniture.
furniture.
So I was like I'm a upholstery girl. I can build anything. I mean, I still do a little bits on the side because that's what I do, right? That's who I am. But when I the first time I did it, I was visiting in Minnesota, and the lady asked me. I was at a garage sale, and she had the actual set outside. It was a bedroom set, and I was like, "Oh man, I could redo this." And she was like, "Really? I'll keep it if you could." I was talking about for myself, but she asked me to do it and she paid me. And while I was in there redoing it for her, and she was like, coming on observing, um, she just started talking.
Mm.
Like she just started talking, and I gotta admit, at the beginning, I was a little annoyed. Like
Okay.
like I'm trying to work, and she just started talking, and then before you know it, tears started flowing, and before you know it, she just opened up completely, and then I don't even know. I wasn't even working no more. I was standing there. I was consoling. I was talking. I was hugging. I was doing all of this, and I was just like, "Oh my God!" Like, what's happening. And then that wasn't the first time. Every time I would do this for somebody, they would come and bother me and just start talking. And so that's pretty much where it came from. And it was like, okay, God, what are you trying to tell me? And then at 21, I knew at 21 before all of that. At 21, I knew that I was going to be a preacher, right? I knew that God had called me to speak to the masses, right? Preach, tell the good news. I just wasn't doing it in that stead. And then it was like, okay, you were right on track, but I'm gonna use something else to get you where I need you to be. Since you like to build furniture, let's transition, right? Building furniture, let's build people. Let's do this. But I'm not gonna tell you have to go through everything that you're gonna have to help somebody build through. You know, I could just about imagine 90% of the things that I talk to people about, I've already been through it. And it could be scary, but it's so it's like, man, God, you really are using me as an example. And that's how I look at the situation instead of taking it and
Yeah. That's the scary, I don't want to say scary, but definitely intimidating. Or when you think about it, like, okay, I learned early when I started doing all the stuff with women and coaching, mentoring, that we go through things for other people. And it kind of sucks. It's like, why do I have to go through this to give someone else the blueprint?
yeah.
Right? It's almost like, why am I the guinea pig?
Yeah.
Why do I got to go through the trenches first? But it's the reality is, how are you going to be able to coach, counsel, minister, help someone even get through something if you've never gone through it? And that doesn't mean you can't, you could, but I think you can relate better to someone that is going through something, right?
If you've been through it.
If you've been through it. And there was a season that I was into like carpentry, not carpentry, but like I remember I tried, especially when I was pregnant with my last daughter, I was trying to like fix furniture, and I have ADHD. So once I go in a rabbit hole of something, I will get like obsessive over it.
Yeah.
So I was like looking at HGTV and do your own videos, and how do you fix this, and what do you put varnish on this and that, and I just wanted to like make things pretty, but I realized like, yeah, nah. After the ADHD thing wore off, I was like, I'm good. I think I don't want to do this no more. I'd rather just buy it. Like
Yeah.
let me buy it from somebody instead. But I know that, I mean, that's a beautiful story that you go from, just building furniture and counseling and coaching and talking to people and just being that safe space.
Yeah.
Sometimes people, especially now more than ever, people need safe spaces. So how do you feel about, now that, how long has the organization been around now?
Since 2019, it was established before 2019, but it's been around essentially since 2019.
So,
Yeah.
so a carpenter's heart, what exactly are the things that you do for people in that organization, just to give an idea?
So I'm a mental health specialist and, of course, life coach. Also, Christian counseling. So all of it, in that stead. So as far as coaching, counseling, um, talking, listening, right, to people who didn't have a safe space. I had to become a me for me, and so now I'm a me for them.
Oh, yeah, I like that. And that is a big responsibility. I don't think people realize how. I remember, at least for me, when I got into that world, I was terrified. I'm always terrified of everything at first, right? Like, I think that's a normal, common thing that people go through. But I knew there was just a big responsibility,
Yeah.
right? It's like, oh, this is huge responsibility that now, like, God is giving you, and now you're responsible for other people. And I remember, like, no, I don't want to do this, and I would run away like Jonah, like I don't want to deal with it, and then the whale would bring me back, like, nope, you're gonna do this. So so similar to you, when I learned about me, like the idea of coaching and mentoring and stuff, I used to have, if anyone remembers, is it still called the Swaparama on Division
Oh
Street?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I had a store there. I would sell makeup and Avon products, right? I was like 20, 21, selling
Nice.
makeup. So it was like most young girls love playing with makeup,
Uh-huh.
right? And I would have seasoned women coming into my, my little, what was it, like a little 5 by 8 space, and tell me all their problems. Grown women. And well, we're going to take a quick short break, and we'll talk more about our stories. But when we come back, we're going to learn more about Robin and her story and what she's working on. So stay tuned, WRMN 1410 AM. Thank you so much.
And ahora.
Right, we are back. You are listening to us on WRMN 1410. We are here with Robin from A Carpenter's Heart, talking about her story and how she started her organization. And if you guys need to learn more about me, go to wisealliancenetwork.com or learn more about the radio, WRMN 1410, and learn more about their programming and the station. Super exciting. Shout out to the team out in Elgin. We appreciate you, Matt and Sonar, for helping out with the back end of this show. So, and the team here. So Robin, we were talking. You were sharing a little bit how A Carpenter's Heart started, and how now you've been life coaching and helping, right, individuals overcome. Now, what is your niche or your main topic? Because all life coaches are not created equal, and I think some focus on some things more than others, right? You'll learn some that are like into quantum physics, and some that are into Napoleon Hill, and they teach out of what's the other one? I can't even think of. John Maxwell coaches, right? You got all these level of coaches
Yeah.
that focus on different things. What is your niche that you can say?
Um, I did get my cert from John Maxwell.
Oh,
Actually.
okay. So yeah, that okay,
Yeah.
John Maxwell.
And divinity school. I went to Liberty. So mine is more so faith based.
Liberty University?
I did go to Liberty.
Me
University.
too.
Really? Cool.
Yeah.
Mine is more so faith based. I mean, I could talk to anybody about anything. Um, I am non denominational, so I'm not like, there's no
Specific.
specific right
Yeah.
thing. But I feel like I do talk to women more than I talk to anyone. Um, this just, I mean, it's easier.
Of
It's
course.
easier for us to open up. I do have a few male clients. However, I do talk to women more. I kind of been transitioned into something in lieu of tragedy that kind of struck as far as my life. It always, that's how God moves me, right? When you're going through or getting through something, that does not stop what's coming next, right?
Mm.
So healing is not just like I'm healed and I'm done. No, it's healing, and then soon as you get out of that valley, you got a little time to breathe, and there's another valley because it goes up and down, up and
Always.
down. So, yeah.
Never stops.
Yeah, yeah. So in 2021, I had a son. September 20th, I had a son. I was also married at the time. Had a son and was married, and it was all good. He was healthy, very healthy. He was big, but he was healthy. in 2000 and January of 2022, we lost him. So he it was crazy because we were on our way back from a car dealership. We were looking for a car, and we were going through some tough stuff, And so it was like, add on this. That was like, I was also going through at the time postpartum depression. Did not know it until I went to see someone. It was a lot of stuff happening at that time. I mean, my ex-husband was kind of going through a tough time as well. And so we were coming back, and we it's crazy because like maybe 5 minutes away from the house, he was crying. And I stuck my hand back there just to give him his pacifier, and he shut up. That was it. And then we pulled up in a driveway, and I was unconnecting the kids. We had two of the kids in the back, and I was unconnecting the first one, and I saw him, and he looked weird. And I ran around there and tried to unconnect him. He wasn't breathing, and then he had like just giving details because I want you to understand exactly the magnitude of what I had to go through to be where I am right now, right? He had like like blood coming out of his nose, like a little bit, with like phlegm or something. And I called for my husband. That was the first person I yelled for, and then my niece came running out. We called the ambulance. Over the phone, the ambulance is showing me what to do, right? How to bring him back, how to do, and not coming back. Still warm. He's still regular. 5 minutes ago, he was crying, right? There was nothing wrong with him. And the ambulance came and they rolled away. And when we got there, like 5 hours passed before they allowed us to know anything. And then they put you in that room, right? That room where they tell you it's done, it's over. And I knew about the room. And that's when I kind of was like, okay, I don't know. It was like from the time that we left the hospital, everything moved in like absolute slow motion. Absolute slow motion. I lost time between that and maybe 2 years after. Like everything still moved in slow motion. I remember leaving a job in that time frame. I remember in that time frame went through a divorce. I lost, I went from having I'm gonna say I went from having 7 children. I went from having one child to having children. To my son being added 7 children, back down to one child in that small time frame. And it was like up and down, up and down. And so my brain just like, I don't know, it just started shutting stuff out so that I could, I guess, heal. Didn't know that it would help me, right? I was losing time like crazy. Like I was just going through the motions, right? I moved. In that same time frame, 2023, I moved. Me and my husband we separated and I moved. And when I moved, it was like the house that I moved into, I actually bought it. It's crazy. It went so fast. I did not even know that I could purchase a house at that time. Crazy. So when I purchased it, I moved in, and for the first time, I saw a whole bunch of light, like in that house, whole bunch of light. I looked around. There was windows everywhere, from floor top, and I saw light, and then I was just like, okay, that was like a shift. That was like a difference. And then it was like, okay, you can grieve now. Like you can, and that's when the process started. Now it was really ugly because, grief is, now me and grief like this. We know each other, right? I know him, he knows me, and yeah, it's a guy for me. And we hang out a little bit, and then it's time for you to go. We have an understanding. He's not a bad person. He's not a good person. He's just something that has to happen, right? And so if we allow him to come in and do what he needs to do, he'll leave peacefully. If we don't, that's when it gets, you can get sick. You can get, things. And so that's what I do now, right?
Yeah.
I help people with grief.
And when we've talked about this, you mentioned it before. There's people that will never. You will grieve for life, right? Especially with and then you can correct me, right? Because you know it because you've gone through it. Like you never really end grief, right? Because it's the loss of a loved of your baby, right? So like you're always gonna experience it. if someone was listening right now and grieving a loss, it could be anything,
Mhm.
right? Like, how would you direct them? What is the first step that they?
Um, Grieve, fall into it. My auntie who raised me, she lost her son, and when it started happening to me, some of the same things started happening to me that happened to her. She called me at the right times every single time. At the right times, I did never, She called me and she said, "Let it happen. Fall into it. Grieve." And then I took it a step further. I was talking to it, right? I was having conversations with it. I made friends with it because since you're going to be here, we may as well make the best of it, right? And that's how I cried. Through my tears, I opened my mouth. Through my tears, I was just like, wow, I got mad at it. Like, what happened? Like, what was I supposed to do? Like, I mean, I literally talked. What happened to my marriage? Like, how did this work? You don't just grieve death, you grieve loss,
Loss,
you know.
yes,
So anything that you lose, you grieve. Like,
of course. There's 7 levels of grief. Is it denial, acceptance, anger? What
yeah,
is
but
it? What are the? What are
I
the?
don't really deal with those
You don't
because
deal
the
with
levels
those.
can go anywhere, right? I
They
don't
could.
I don't have a set space, right? I could be in what denial if that's the first one, right? I could be in denial at the beginning, but I can also be in denial 10, 20 years from now because I'm not allowing it to do what it needs to do, right? So I wouldn't say steps or levels or you make it to this step, you make it to that step. I would say your life is not your own. Allow God to help you because grief exists. He knows everything. He knew that I would go through this. So why am I not allowing him to help me in this process?
And I like that you said grief can be any loss, right? Like
Yeah.
divorce, death, job loss, relationship, whatever it is. And I love the fact that you're just very transparent about it because a lot of people want to pretend like it doesn't exist. It's not there. We don't. They're in the Lulu land, right? And for me, I'm a big believer. Like I'm in constant therapy, and then when I get out, I'm like, oh, that triggered me. I need to go back, right? Like now, right now, I'm sitting here like, yeah, Jennifer, it's time to go back to therapy, right? Because sometimes things get exposed and you're like, huh, I didn't know I had to work on this. Let me go work on that.
But exposure is good, right?
It is.
Yeah, it
We
helps
were
heal.
the band aid. We were
Yeah,
talking about.
we
Can you
were.
give the band aid analogy? I love that
And
analogy you
so
shared.
basically saying, we put a band-aid on everything. We want to look perfect, right? We want it to look okay. But he'll, close things, conceal things can't heal. Think about a sore. If I keep the band-aid on, after the scalp, after all of that, it's not gonna heal, right? I have to uncover it. I have to expose it to the elements. I need it to heal correctly. Air makes it heal, right? Germs, good germs, bad germs, things make it heal. And so, in exposing it and exposing me, I'm exposed, I'm open. That's when the real healing can begin because then I'm not fearful of judgment. I don't care what you think. I went through my way. This is my way. And so I don't have that fear of people. You know, all I'm doing is listen. That's all I can do. Right? That's all I can do. That's it. And so exposing yourself is not a bad thing. Exposing you. That's why a lot of people, my old mother-in-law used to say, you just tell it all. I do. Because if what I can say can help somebody else, I am definitely going to tell you. I'm not around here just exposing and giving my business away. But if I feel like it's going to help you, yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's too many people that walk around with this mask, right? And you need people that are always authentic, genuine, just to let like it is, be who they are, right? And that's at least what I've picked up from you. You're very just, this is me, right? This is what I've gone through, and take it or leave it, kind of. And I appreciate people that are like that because you just never know who's authentic, who's not, who's genuine, who's not, who's putting up a front, who's not, right?
I mean, families, we grow up, right? We grow up sweeping stuff under the rug, especially in my community. I grow up with that mask, right? Don't tell what happens in this house stays in this house. A lie. Open the door, let it out.
Yeah.
because then you can heal, I can heal, then we can be better, and then so on and so on. We break generational curses, right? Things don't happen the way that I grew up. It won't happen. It won't happen the same way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And healing is a process. I think people think that
Yeah.
healing is not an overnight miracle. It takes years to.
Sometimes God
I
can
mean,
do
sure, God can
just
heal
like this.
immediately.
However,
Of course.
it's still gonna be some remnant somewhere. Healing does not mean forget, right? A lot of people think that, especially in losing your child. That was my biggest fear. I also go to therapy, guys. Yes, the therapists go to therapy.
Therapists should go to therapy, and coaches should go to
Right.
therapy.
I also have a therapist, but that's a real fear unlocked. Did not know that it could be, because if you would have told me before 2022 that I fear forgetting my child, and it's like how? It's like how? Because I never been through it. I wouldn't have understood it. Now
Yeah.
I know, because that was my fear. I forget him so little. I forget him, I'll forget. That's what my biggest thing was. I forget who he was. And then I didn't want to be that person to make a shrine, right, to remember. Make a room, make a this, make a that. I just want to be normal. That was my, whatever normal looks like for you. That was my thing. I don't want to forget him, and I don't want to make a shrine to remember him. So God, find me a medium. And he said, just be. You won't forget. I will make sure you won't forget. And it's like 4 years, he'll be 4 years old. 4 years is a very long, short time, for him not to be here. And for me to be where I am is an amazing thing. I have no explanation but God. Like I have no, when people ask me, they always ask me, is there a blueprint? Yeah, God. What do you do, God? How are you like God? How are you able to talk about it without a tear, God? Yeah, I have my moments. I cry. And then I told you, man, grief is cool. He know where I work. He know where I live. He know where I'm at every time. And he knows how to show up.
Reminds me of that movie, the anxiety one, the little girl that's going through puberty, Inside Out,
yeah,
right?
yeah, with
And
all of the
the little
different-
characters.
Yeah.
Can you imagine thinking about that movie and then adding a grief
Yeah.
character?
Yeah.
Right. That's a real thing.
That is a real, yeah.
That's such a real thing, because people don't, emotions can be complex. Now there's different, like I remember one coach, he did very simplify it one time. He said, and it's right, there's different theories and different coaching styles that you can follow. And I just remember one coach from I forgot what institution, that was saying that we have 4 emotions, basic, right? Happiness, sadness, anger, and fear.
Those are the basics.
Those are the basics. And then when you have other emotions, they're combinations of these emotions together. So then, happiness and fear is anxiety,
Yeah.
right? Or you have anger and I don't know. I just don't even remember all the combinations. But most of the time, those are your 4 basic ones. And sometimes we as humans, we complicate things, because emotions can be complicated, can be overwhelming if you don't know how to control it, or like you said, seek God, right? Go to God. And sometimes that's all you can say. That's all you can do when you just don't even know how to process things.
Well, a lot of people don't know how to. Well, how do I see God? How do I talk to something that's not there for me, right? I got around people was already in that relationship status, right?
Yeah.
I got around them because I knew that they loved God, and they were real, because it wasn't just at church. They did it at home. They did it when we were out. It was real for them. They didn't care who was around. They were still loving God. And for that to happen, and then I saw the stuff happening, like you see light on a person. We can feel each other. I can see light on you and this and that. I was like, I want to be around her. Why is she so happy? Why is she full of joy? Why, in the face of turmoil, like she just lost her job, but she's still real chipper? Why? And then she says, it's God. figure it out. I need to figure out how to do that. How to get a relationship. And then when I finally got it, I was around them. And because I was around them, what you surround yourself, you become.
Of course.
Because I was around them and God was around them, God lived with them, he started living with me. And it was like, oh, wait, I feel something. I feel something a little different than yesterday. Then, open up my mouth. I start praying. I start praying and talking more to myself. So I thought.
And I think that's also a reflection of what of the spirit, right? So you know that when you walk around with the spirit, you'll see characteristics that represent Christ, right? Joy, faithfulness, patience, all the fruits. And it's nice. It's nice when you hear someone, I don't want to say it's nice, but like when someone's gone through it or someone's going through it, but then you see on them how it doesn't phase them. And it gives you motivation like, wow, this person's going through all of this and look at how they're handling it. Like whatever they got going on, I want to be part of that. Or I want to learn more about that. Or it encourages them or motivates them, right? I always believe that the most gentlest people or kindest people have gone through the worst things in their life.
Well, you mentioned the fruit of the spirit. One of them is long suffering.
Long suffering, it is a fruit.
And so when people think about long suffering, you think about, going through, right? How you go through matters. You can go through horribly, or you can suffer well, right? And suffering well is not like oh, I don't feel this thing or God is with me. Suffering well is how I react to what I'm going through. If I'm mean and nasty because I'm going through and it's not your fault, right? You didn't kill my son. You weren't even there. But because I'm going through it, that's selfish. That's not suffering well. And I think God looks at that, right? Because if he put long suffering in one of the fruits of the spirit, and I'm supposed to have it, right? I'm supposed to have that. I should be able to suffer well, you know?
Yeah. That's a good point. And people don't think about that because sometimes you're going through things and people might be snappy or snap at you or their feelings are hurt or they take things personal.
Yeah, and that's human, right?
We are human.
You got to learn how to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and be okay with apologizing when you're wrong.
Yeah, that's the basis of our life. If we said I'm sorry more than we snapped, then I feel like we'll have a better world. Like, and for real, mean it. Like, I snapped at you. I'm so sorry. I'm going through something. Okay, we have this thing. It's called it's churchy, right? Transparency in the pulpit. Transparency in the pulpit equals deliverance in the pews. If I'm transparent, that could be in the world too, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm open and transparent about what I'm sorry, I'm going through something today, right? It's going to be, that's kindness, that's grace. I've given to the next person, and that's called what? Paying it forward. So now that person going to go back and be like, oh man, if Robin can do that and come back and say sorry, I can too.
Yeah. And we're human. We're going to say things, make mistakes. I think naturally sometimes, you got to give each other grace, and that's one of my biggest things is just giving grace.
Yeah.
I'm just going to give grace, I want to be as gracious as possible because I know people go through things and I know I go through things. So it's like, how dare I not give someone grace knowing that there's times that I need grace.
Yeah.
Right. So let me give someone else grace because there's too many people that are quick at just blowing people off, cutting people off, because their feelings are hurt.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, and mind you, yes, sometimes you do have to put boundaries. Sometimes you do have to really cut someone off, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're causing harm or they're malicious or whatever the case may be.
Or they're messing up what do you call your peace? And I get that.
Yeah, which makes sense. But at the same time, give people grace because sometimes people are going through things or things are happening and you might not even be aware of it, And sometimes I minister to myself when I say these things,
Sometimes you do got to tell yourself, listen, you got this. And then sometimes you also got to apologize. You got to give yourself grace. We're so hard on ourselves. I said this a few weeks ago preaching. We are hard on ourselves. Give yourself grace. God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Robin. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is what are some things that are coming up for you? Like, I know you got some things in the
I do have a
works.
few things in the works. The first thing that's happening is I have we're launching a new group at my church. It's a grief ministry that I'm over, and the church is called New Beginning Full Gospel Ministry. It's in South Holland, um, and literally we're launching a grief ministry. Starting out, it is a Carpenter's Heart launching a support group for women who's lost children. Eventually, it's going to grow, right? It's going to be for everybody. But for now, it's a baby for me, right? And I want women to come there, and it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be like me holding them in love. It's gonna be me showing them that we all support each other and going that way, you know.
Wow. And where is this church? Where is this meeting going to be held at?
16440 Cottage Grove, South Holland, Illinois.
In South Holland, Illinois. That's where you're going to have support groups. That's super exciting. I'm excited to learn more about that. I know we're going to take a quick short break, but when we come back, we're going to talk more about where they can find your information, where they can learn more about you. And I'm really excited to learn more about a project that you also got going on that you just recently did that you're excited to tell me. So I'm really excited about hearing more. You guys are listening to WRMN1410.com. Make sure you check out, learn more about the show. So definitely stay tuned. Don't touch that dial. We are back. You are listening to WRMN 1410 AM. You can learn more about WRMN 1410 AM by going to the website and checking out all their programming. Also, if you want to learn more about me, go to wisealliancenetwork.com. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Wise Coffee Chat. So, we were talking with Robin from Carpenter's Heart, and she's been sharing a lot of information with us. Very transparent, very authentic. Just learning about her story, how she started her organization, how now she's creating a support group, which is super exciting at her church, and you're doing another thing, or you did a thing.
I did do a thing. I wrote a book.
Oh, tell us more.
So the book is it's called I've Been There Too. And it should be live soon.
Hey, congratulations.
Working out some stuff. But
That's
yeah,
so
it's
fun.
amazing. It is my first book, so I'm excited. It's a lot of firsts that's happening right now.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited. It tells about a lot of the things that we were talking about today, right?
Yeah.
And it's also like a how-to guide.
I love that.
You know, it's like if she could do it, I could do it.
Yes.
'Cause that's who I was. If you could do it, I could do it. You know, if God could do it, I could do it. Come on.
Yes.
Type
I
of
love that.
thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love authorship. I always think everyone should publish a book. Everyone should put something out there, right? I know I'm doing a book launch too in May, and you're going to be a speaker at the conference as well. So you agreed to be one of my conference speakers because there's things that you've told me, and I'll sit there and I'll listen to you, and then I'll feel in my heart. Like I really like to connect with whoever's going to speak at my events. I try to be very purposeful in what I do and everything that I do, honestly. So, like I told you when I asked it, like it kept tugging at my heart. Like, she's supposed to be a conference speaker. I don't know why. I'm sure I know why, but I just kept feeling the tug, and it's like, you know what? I think she'll be a powerful speaker. There's going to be someone in that room that needs to hear your story, and I think just the rawness. Sometimes those are the most impactful, right? Just raw stories, raw presentations of like someone, how they overcame something. No, don't give me the fluff. I don't like fluff.
Oh no,
I
don't like fluff.
Fluff doesn't work for me. I want the true, like, what did you do to get over this? How did you make it happen? And like you said, grief, even the way you're talking about grief as a person, like, right? You see it as like grief is a person, right? Or like you're calling it for what it is.
Yeah.
That helps. Who knows who's lost something or going through something, right? And this is going to help them.
Yeah.
But for the authorship side, what are you looking to get out of the book? Like, what is your goal, or what are you trying to achieve with being an author?
I just want to go a little further with what I already do. right? And the way to do that is to write it down, make an audio, right? Send it to like the world, like send it so far where I can't get to all the time. And so that's
Yeah.
what made me like, okay, write it in a book, you
Yeah.
know, expand. And in the book, there is like every chapter have a how to, you know. All right, I've been through this. This is how I got out.
Mm.
All right, I've been through this. This is how I got out.
Mm.
It's not easy. This is how I got out.
Yeah, for
Let's
sure.
do this part. This is how I got out. Type of thing, you know.
I like that. And you never know who that book is going to reach, who
Yeah.
that's going to touch. I know that with my daughter, so both my daughters are published authors. And I remember my daughter put, in her book is called "Am I Overreacting" on Amazon.
Nice.
Now, in her season, she wrote that book when she was in 8th grade, and she was going through a like depression cutting season that I was like, oh God, how am I gonna solve this, like first time mom trying to, not the first time mom, but my first daughter going through whatever. So I was like, okay, what are we gonna do? And then I said, okay, you're gonna go to church, you're gonna go to therapy, and you're gonna write a book. Like that was like my solution. And she just put everything in that book, and it was so therapeutic for her. And then adults were reading her book and like writing Amazon,
Yeah.
when they give you the recommendations or whatever. And they were like, this is not just for teenagers. This is for adults.
That's amazing.
And
That is so good.
And she's 14,
and inspiring. I have a 15-year-old, so I have a daughter. So yeah.
So you never know who your book is gonna touch,
Yeah.
how it's gonna affect, how it's gonna help. I mean, I'm a bookworm, so I love books. If you went to my house and I showed you my library, you'd be like, damn, Jennifer.
Oh, wow.
I have literally I have a shelf book. I got like 3 rows and books in front, books in back.
Well, maybe I need to come to your house
you-
because I love books.
Whenever you want to come to my house and you want to read a book, I should have a library in my house. I just love books. I just love collecting them, reading them, breathing the smell.
Yeah, you gotta have the
texture.
yeah.
I used to love going to like the Harold Washington Library when I was younger and just sit there and be around books. Like I was that, that dorky. But I love that you're an author and you're gonna change so many lives with what you're doing.
Thank you. That's the goal, right? To change lives. That's
Yeah.
that's the ultimate goal, to change lives.
Yeah, and God will always remind you, right? Like, what's the purpose? Like,
Yeah.
get back on track, right?
Mhm.
And He'll remind you in different ways, and it's like, okay, God, don't get distracted. Here, get back on your purpose.
That's that lamp into my feet and the light
Yeah.
on my path.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always going to be lit up whether I get off the path or not. It's still going to be lit up for me because the word said that that's what He is to me.
Yeah.
And so if it says that that's what He is to me, whether I go whichever way I go, I'm going to always have that path to get back on because there's a light there.
Yeah, I like that. He makes every crooked way straight, right?
That's right.
So if someone wants to get in touch with you or learn more about you or go to the support group, where can they find this information?
Right now we can do Facebook. It's just Robin Lewis on Facebook. I don't believe in all the weird names and adding, or you can go to, I'm also on Facebook and a Carpenter's Heart.
Okay.
Has a Facebook page, and it's a rugged heart. So it's a pink rugged heart, so you'll be able to see. I'm on TikTok as a Carpenter's Heart as well.
Okay.
So yeah, and I'm building as we speak. I'm adding to my website.
Oh, nice.
So it will definitely be a carpentersheartincorporated.com.
Nice.
You go there now, and you will probably see it under construction.
Under construction. Those are fun, making
yeah.
websites, right?
Yeah.
Sure, my students can testify. They love making websites.
Right.
Yeah, they're nodding over there like, yeah, whatever. So they can go on Facebook, Robin Lewis, TikTok, Instagram, you said?
You can do Facebook, Robin Lewis, or Carpenter's Heart.
Okay.
On Facebook, on Carpenter's Heart, it's a Carpenter's Heart Incorporated.
Okay.
And then TikTok, it will be a Carpenter's Heart Incorporated with a pink rugged heart.
And you have a support group coming up. You have a meeting coming up.
I do April 4th.
April 4th. That's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday. April 4th is a Saturday at New Beginning Full Gospel Ministries.
Okay. And where is that located?
16440 Cottage Grove. That's in South Holland, Illinois.
Do they need to RSVP?
That would be great, but it's a support group. Walk in, you're going to be loved.
Just show up.
But it will be amazing if you hit me on one of those platforms and say, yeah, I'm coming.
April 4th. At what time again?
April 4th, 11 to 12:30.
11 to 12:30 support group. And this is like a grief loss support group, you would say?
Yes, this one is a grief support group.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Robin, for being here with us this morning. And thank you for all the listeners and the viewers. We appreciate you guys being here, and you're watching and listening to WRMN1410.com. You can learn more about their program. Go to their website. Thank you so much again, everyone watching and listening. You can learn more about me at wisealliancenetwork.com. And make sure you follow us on Wise Coffee Chat on all the social media platforms. God bless you guys, and have a great rest of your week.